Okay, I think we are streaming. If you're in the chat, please feel free to introduce. A weekend and let's just enjoy ourselves and relax and if you have something you want me to address, I will be happy to do so. Um, okay, next Thursday is Thanksgiving, as you and my family and I have some plans. Not nothing really spectacular. I will not be cooking this time. We're not going to do that. We'll save that for later in the season. Now, part of the reason for that is that Wednesday is my 25th wedding anniversary. I don't know what happened to 25 years. It is gone. We had no babies, and now we had two babies, and now we have grown adults in our house. Well, one grown adult in our house, the other one's not in our house. So, life moves on. It wasn't until 2011 that I got involved with API. So both my kids were not little at that point. 7 and 10. That's kind of little, but not that little. And now they're both adults. The empty nest thing isn't quite there yet, but it's starting to happen. It makes me a little sad. It makes me a little happy. It's bittersweet. Those of you who've been through that probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have not have no idea. People sometimes say, I'll have kids when I'm ready. The reality is you won't be ready. You're not ready, and you can't be ready. You will meet it in the moment, and you will do the best you can. And most of you will do all right. Some don't, but they weren't going to do all right anyway. They were doomed to be bad parents, and you know who they are. I was a pretty average parent, I think. Not great, not bad. We spent a lot of money on our kids, but that's not necessarily a measure of how good a parent you are. You send your kids to Quaker school like we did. Does that make you a good parent? Right now, I would say, no, not necessarily. We could have sent them to the public schools and probably done just as good a job parenting. They probably would have gotten more of a reality check early on. Anyway, that's that. I'm not going to talk about parenting anymore tonight. Just now, my wife and I were watching Pluribus. That's a really interesting show. I'm not sure it's not, for me, an emotionally engaging show. I don't deeply care about the characters, but I do find it really interesting and engaging on a different level. I won't give you any spoilers, but if you're interested in watching the show, it's kind of a zombie epic, but completely turned around on its head. Unlike Walking Dead, the zombies aren't out to eat you. They're not dangerous at all. You don't have to kill anybody. The zombies are nice. The zombies are accommodating. They give you what you want. It's a very strange zombie epic. And arguably, they're not even zombies. Another close analogy would be, what if the Borg were nice? What if the Borg were polite and accommodating? If you know what who the Borg are from Star Trek, then you know what I'm talking about. Of course, the Borg in Star Trek are mean and nasty and violent, but no, these are just the opposite. So it raises a lot of really interesting questions, and it's a very philosophical show, and I applaud that. It's by Vince Gilligan created it, and as you know, Vince Gilligan is the creator of Breaking Bad, which is superb, heartbreaking and gritty, but superb. And this has got a lot of the same quality to it. But it's a very different story and a very different set of characters, although set in Albuquerque for the most part, which interesting. I've been to Albuquerque quite a few times for work, and I like the town. I do. I'd even consider living there, except there's just hardly any trees at all. And I kind of like trees. Here I have in Maryland, where I live, I have too many trees. Anyway, that's enough chit chat about television and children. Something that's coming up in UFO investigation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions in the chat. Let's see. Live chat. Okay. All right. So if you're there, at least say hello, and then have an eggnog. Tonight is eggnog night, and I'm having eggnog. Yeah, it's not just eggnog. It has a little nutmeg sprinkled on top. It's Friday night. It's a weekend night. No need to hold back. Now, my son will be in here with his friends in about 45 minutes. I may be done by then. You can't see it, but right over there is our pool table, about 8 feet from where I am. And they will be in there, and they will be making a little bit of noise and enjoying each other's company. And I very much approve of young people enjoying each other's company, or old people for that matter. I will not be invited to join the pool competition, but that's okay. I'm a lousy pool player. And by the way, my son's friends are terrific. He's chosen very well his friends. They're great people. And I am happy to have them over to our house. As you might have guessed, we're in the basement. This is the cool weather apparel. There's no heat down here, but temperature's pretty steady, 60 degrees or thereabouts. Okay. Tomorrow should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the reasons that I'm not going to stay up that late. I am going to, right after the kids get down here to play pool, I'm going to go upstairs and watch one more episode of Down Cemetery Road. But enough of my TV habit. But then I'm going to go to bed after that, so around midnight or so. And then tomorrow afternoon, when the rain should have passed, I am going to go on a short expedition. I'm going to somewhere in Maryland. I'm not going to say anything that might dox the location of this person or anything about the person, really. But I am going to go visit a witness to a close encounter that happened 11 years ago. Now, that was a long time ago to investigate anything. Yes, I recognize that. I I also do not believe there will be any corroborating evidence. So why am I going? Well, a couple of reasons. One is I've been saying for a while now that I think we should emphasize close encounters, and it turns out this is a close encounter. That's one reason. The other, another reason is when I can get to a site, even if it's a site of a sighting from a while ago, I will be happy to go do that. I believe in boots on the ground investigation. I think it's very different from armchair, from talking to witnesses over Zoom and so on. We do it when we can. Marcia does it more than I do, but she's retired. I am not, so I don't have all my time to myself. When we had a case in West Virginia, and which is still open, I believe, I could talk about that case if anybody's interested. It was quite an interesting case. Wait a minute, who was that? I just heard someone say, I'm interested. Which case are you referring to? And you know what? Is my phone? It was the AI jiggy in my phone that I don't even want. Okay. Sorry. I apologize. If you're in the chat, you want to hear more about the case in West Virginia, which is almost a close encounter, triangle case, 2 witnesses, I would be happy to talk about that some more. Anyway, my point was that Marcia, who lives in Michigan, she went down there. Quite a schlep for her, but she went down there, and she visited with the witnesses and went to the site and even knocked on some doors, asked if anybody else has seen anything. So that's a way to do site visit. She did a good job with that. Unfortunately, we didn't learn a whole lot more, but and most of our site visits in the last few years have been Marcia, not me. Although some other investigators have also. And for the reason stated, that I don't have that much freedom to travel around the country at a moment's notice, although I would love to do that, and will when I retire. When will I retire? Well, who knows? Maybe soon. It's not entirely up to me. Anyway, what is the point I was trying to make? Well, boots on the ground investigation is good. It's different. It's not just, it's not that talking to the witness over Zoom is a virtual boots on the ground investigation. It's not. It doesn't have the same power. You learn more and you are more alert to things when you're there. And I think you ask better questions. Is it necessarily going to lead to firmer conclusions? No, it may not. You may fail. We often fail to learn what we want to learn when we go to site visits or when we investigate. That is the nature of this business. If you want to investigate UFO sightings, you're going to have a lot of busts, a lot of things that just don't work out. You'll say, wow, that sounds like a great sighting. You'll talk to the witness. You won't get any more information that's of any value. You'll look at the videos. They're not great. You'll look at, you'll see if anybody else saw it. They didn't. So that's the nature of this. Every once in a while, you get some corroboration. Every once in a while, you learn something different. But I think two things that I think are important is emphasize close encounters. Two things: emphasize close encounters and go there, be there. Those are the best investigations. Those are the ones you remember, the ones you find most rewarding. If no other reason, do it because you find it more rewarding, and that will motivate you to keep doing them. Okay. What else did I want to say about that? Well, okay. So I'm going to this site tomorrow. It's in Maryland. It's not a large site. It is a close encounter, I believe. I think I can confirm that once I get there. It is an orb. The witness describes it as an orb that's between 3 to 6 feet. Now, we have a lot of reports of small to medium-sized orbs that are mostly orange color. Some are different colors that seem to be some are very bright, some are kind of dim, some get extremely close, some are quite small. We've seen quite a few reports of those. Because these are close encounters, because they get close to the witness, they are more interest to me, and I think should be to the entire field, than the kind of reports where people see a light in the sky. We know that most of the lights that people see in the sky are not anything interesting. They are usually airplanes or satellites. Sometimes they're even spiders. Don't get me started. But orbs close up, very close even. Now in this case, I don't think it's super close. It's probably just sort of within what we would consider a close encounter distance. But it stayed there for a while and it moved slowly. So he had plenty of time to observe it. So I'm going to ask him a lot of questions. There will be a report. There will be a report. The report will not have enough detail if you figure out where it happened or to whom it happened, but there will be a written report. And it may not, we may not learn much more than this is what this guy remembers. And that he seems credible. Most of my witnesses, by the way, are credible, in my opinion, in my subjective opinion. But what my opinion of someone's credibility is of very little evidential value. It convinces me, but it's not going to convince you. It's not going to convince anybody else. I talked to the guy and he seemed straight up. But could I be fooled? Yes. Did I want to believe that he was credible? Probably did. And therefore I would be biased towards that. So if I say someone appears credible or seems credible, you shouldn't weigh that too heavily. So anyway, let's say I go there tomorrow and I decide he does seem credible. So far, my early interaction with him, it seems very rational, highly functional guy with a job and nothing about him that would no red or yellow flags to say maybe this person is struggling with his relationship with reality. And that's the most interesting kind of person I want to talk. Someone who has a fairly stable relationship with reality and yet still has many memories of things that are quite strange and maybe even very strange. And this guy, probably, my initial assessment is he has more to talk to him and we will just have a casual conversation about this. And there may be some follow-up. A lot of these witnesses have multiple encounters with something they don't understand. Eggnog. Eggnog on the beard. The beard needs a trim. Anyway, so he and I are gonna reenact. I'm gonna get audio recordings, which may or may not be available to the public. Probably not. The audio recording will mainly be used. We'll make a transcript of it and use that to help us write a report. There will be video. May not share the video with the public either because it could possibly be geolocated. If you don't know what geolocation is, well, some people are extremely good at this. You give them just a few clues in a video and they can figure out exactly where you were. It's amazing how good some of these guys are. If you're following the war in Ukraine, you know that geolocation happens all the time. People try to confirm that, something happened in the war, and they will geolocate to an area in Ukraine that you wouldn't think would be possible, but they can do it. And so what I may or may not share that because this guy's home. It's and he's lived there for a while, so I don't want to dox his address, which would essentially give away who he is. So the video will probably be kept private. I may share a few photographs. Now I can tell you the detail. This orb was seen just above a tall tree near the guy's home. And it's an orange orb. And so I may photograph the tree. An oak tree in Maryland is not a rarity. Could be anywhere. I have about 20 or 30 oak trees on my property. So they'd be in my house. And many of them are quite tall. And so we will be going, we will reenact, essentially. Well, I'll ask him to go where he was when he first saw it, and any movement that he made during the sighting, and show me about where he saw it last. And then we may walk down to where it was, and or at least where he thinks it was, and kind of just get a sense of it, of that location. And then I'll ask him some questions. All that will be on audio. Some of it will be on video. So I'm not expecting to find any physical evidence after 11 years. Possible exception that there was something strange in the tree. That is some unusual growth or whatever in the tree, or some other tree nearby. I think that's a long shot. So I'm not going to take an evidence collection kit. I'm just going to take basic photography kit and videography kit and audio kit. I will take, show you what I'm going to take. I'm going to take my wireless microphones. I have two of them, one for me, one for the witness. Let's zoom out a little bit here. I've got it all charged up, but this is the receiver, and transmitter, and I've got a cable. I'll plug that into my camera, and he and I will talk and record. And these are great. This is a cheap version of the same thing that Rode makes, and works it's one of those things that works 90% as well for 30% of the price. There's my gear review right there. Tomorrow I will find out if it really is as good as I think. And now I can't figure out how to zipper or close, but I will figure that out later. Oh, here it is. And I'll take my phone, of course, because my phone has a compass app on it, which I will use to shoot directions, and try to get a estimate of the actual height of the tree. And he says it's 100 feet, but that, I think that's a round number. And we'll get a good idea of the how high off the ground the thing was. And he says it maneuvered between trees intelligently and just gradually left to the area. I want to know more about that, but we will definitely do that. I do not have any questions yet. Chime in. Let's talk. Anyway, okay. So that's something that's happening tomorrow, and I will report on it at the next live stream, how that went. I'm looking forward to it because it's been a while since I've done a site visit. Site visits are, as I've said, motivating. Actually going and seeing people face to face, and setting foot where they were when they saw the thing, that's very different from looking at it on Google Earth or talking to them on Zoom. So anyway, let me zoom in a bit there because I prefer that. Okay. Anyway, what else would you want to talk about? UFO investigation is mostly frustration. You have to, if you want to do it, you have to understand that. UFO investigation is mostly, a large chunk of it is, I know what that is. It's a plane, or it's a satellite, or it's the usual sorts of things. We had a guy call the hotline quite recently. Seemed like a perfectly rational, capable person, intelligent guy. He was seeing what I was pretty sure were satellite flares. You can go look up satellite flares on YouTube, and you will see lots of videos of them. They're mostly Starlink. It used to be, it was kind of a fun thing I did with the kids. I would get the predictions of iridium flares. Now there's that iridium constellation is long gone, but they had very predictable flares. And I had an app that could predict them. And they were nearly always correct, these predictions. And so you could go outside at a particular time in a clear night, grab the kids and go out and look up, and this light would come over the horizon and get really, really bright for a few seconds and then dim and then go away. And that would be a satellite flare. It was an iridium flare. Iridium flares were very bright. They had a very shiny surface in a deterministic location on the satellite, so you could tell when it was going to flare. Starlink, I think, is pretty close to that. I don't know of a Starlink flare prediction app, but there are so many Starlink satellites now. There are thousands and thousands of them. They launch more every week. I think at a rate of about 100 a week or so. It's a lot. And now some of them re-enter because they fail, and they re-enter them. So there are some that come in, but there's lots more going up that are coming down. And, don't get me started on what I think about Elon, but Starlink is a big success. He has good people who make him successful and rich. Anyway, I told the guy, I think that's probably a satellite flare. I haven't done the full investigation. But the video they sent sure looked like a satellite flare. And satellite flares are, they look pretty spectacular when you first see them. They don't look like anything you'd expect. It's optics, it's geometry, it's the sun shining on things. The sun shining on things when the sun's not shining on you, which is how we see satellites, even ones that are not flaring. So anyway, so I was getting at many of the things we see that we get reports of are pretty easy to identify. I would say half of them are slam dunk identifiable: planes, satellites, balloons, lens flare. We still get lens flares. We still get planets, Venus. Pretty soon, Venus is going to be switching over to the evening sky, and then we're going to see, we're probably going to get a lot of Venus reports. Well, not a lot. We'll get some. Most people know to check the local weather station or whatever. Oh, yes, Venus is in the sky. It's really bright tonight. But a few people aren't in the loop, apparently, and didn't get the memo and don't know that that's Venus. I posted on social media. I say, Venus is very bright in the sky now. Please don't report it as UFO. Will it get reported? Yes, because sometimes it will. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You should not hesitate to report something you saw in the sky you think is weird, but you should do at least the due diligence of checking some basic things, like, was that a planet? Because there are planets, and sometimes they're quite bright. Venus is the brightest. Sometimes Mars is quite bright. Sometimes Jupiter is very bright. Saturn, not quite so bright, but still noticeably bright sometimes. Mercury, hard to see because it's so close to the sun. But it can be kind of bright. So, and that's it. Those are the planets that you'll see that are bright. You will not see bright comets very often. When you do, it'll be in the news and everybody will know it. The naked eye comets are pretty rare. They're great. I love them. We all remember Hale-Bopp. That was fantastic. You can just walk outside and look in the sky, and there was Hale-Bopp. People went out and bought telescopes to look at Hale-Bopp. You didn't need a telescope. You wouldn't get any detail from a telescope. You wouldn't get from just looking at it or from binoculars, Everyone should have a pair of binoculars. Not an expensive pair. Don't go out and spend a lot of money on binoculars. Get a good quality but not expensive pair. If you spend, do not spend $500 unless you have an application for a really, really good pair of binoculars. Anyway, and if you do, then you don't need my advice. If you're, say, a mariner or a hunter, you know what you need. I'm not a hunter. I'm not a mariner, but so I'm very fascinated by birds and other wildlife. Love to see them. Binoculars are great for that. Don't get a really high magnification pair, I would say, for general purpose use. 8X is probably plenty good. And 8X, or even though I have a very good pair that are 7X. I really like them. And they're rugged and waterproof, and I can take them anywhere. And the only problem I have with them is they're a little bit on the heavy side. Hey, I'm a little bit on the heavy side. So anyway, if I have to have an optic with me, it'd be those 7X binoculars. They're also 50 millimeter aperture, which is nice, big, bright aperture. And I love walking around with those at night or even during the day. So, like I said, this is going to be a free association live stream. I do not have any questions. So, I think, and it's 10:07. I've been rambling on for almost 40 minutes. And you should really have some eggnog. You really should. My camera's giving me a funny indication. I'm not sure what that red light means. And of course, you should not put cognac in your eggnog. That's just not right. Not if you're driving, anyway. So, what do you guys think? I was going to talk about another case, but that required me to show you a video, and I am not set up to show you a video tonight. But it's a case from 10 years ago. I've been thinking about that case and thinking about it, and I kept thinking it can't be birds. But now I'm kind of leaning towards it could be birds. Maybe I'll show you that next time. If the lighting is just right or just wrong, some birds reflect light off their bellies when they're just the right geometry, and then they the light can stop reflecting. They turn slightly, the geometry changes a little bit, and then it looks like they're disappearing, but they're not actually disappearing. They're just the geometry's not right, especially when you're looking at a video where the contrast transfer is not that good, like most cell phones. The cell phones from 2015, even the best ones had crappy contrast transfer. With a little enhancement, I can show you what's there, but I'm really kind of cheating. I'm showing it to you more than the camera recorded. So anyway, that's case 15001 if you want to go look at our video archives. I I think they could be birds. It's not that mysterious. It's not that anomalous. I'd love to think it was. I'm always looking for a real anomaly, one that is not going to go away under analysis. Sometimes it takes me a while to admit that it's not. But we have had other cases of birds fooling people. There was one near Portland, Oregon, that turned out to be pelicans. It's a flock of pelicans. But from where the guy was located, this was during the day, when the guy was, it was just lights in the sky moving around. And the video that he took, that's what you see. You see lights moving around, and not moving very fast. And that was, but then later we found that there was an alert about birds at altitude. These pelicans apparently fly quite high. Marcia tracked that down. And they fly high when they're migrating. So, yeah, it was interesting. Birds can be surprising. Sometimes they fly at night when you think they're not flying at night. Sometimes they fly very high when you would think, why would they fly so high? They just fly there. Sometimes birds fly in a very straight line. You think that's not normal bird behavior, but sometimes it is. So, anyway, still no questions, still no comments. So I'm going to let the kids come down here and play pool. I've enjoyed this, but I hope you would have too. I think it's going to be a short one. Now, in maybe 2 weeks, we'll come back. I don't know who the guest will be, if there will be a guest. It doesn't have to be a guest every time. Maybe I'll just invite Marcia back and we'll talk about another case. But if you have something you want us to talk about, let us know. Get in touch. There's lots of ways to get in touch with us. I'm on Blue Sky. We also have a Blue Sky account for the organization. That's easy to find. I'm Paul D. Carr at Blue Sky. And D as in David. And you can also, now on that account, I post about all kinds of things, not just UFOs. But you can get in touch that way. You can go to our website, reportaufo.org. That will take you to the report tab, but you can also click on any other tabs, including the Contact Us tab, and we'd be happy. And then you fill in the contact form. You can also email reportaufo at protonmail.com. That'll be encrypted. Not even Proton Mail can read that email. Only you and I can read it. Well, whoever on API has the keys. Right now it's just me. And we would be happy to respond to you that way. And if it's something you want to see on the show, or you want to be on and talk about something, yeah, we can do that. I am all for having people on the live stream who are not UFO famous. In fact, we had Jack Brewer on last time. That was fun. Jack's pretty well known in a certain community. He's pretty well not liked very much in some other communities. I think he's a fine person, and he brings receipts. And so Jack was on, and Jack was fun to have on, and we had a good conversation. But you don't have to have 2 books out about UFOs to get on the show. Anyone can be. And that includes you. If you want to come on and talk about UFOs, UFO investigation, or something related, maybe not even that strongly related, Yeah, get in touch. You can comment on this video and let me know how we can get in touch with you, and we'll set it up. Usually, what we do is we do a Zoom call, and we just shoot the Zoom call out into YouTube, and that's how that's done. It worked out well last time. So anyway, yeah, please do get in touch. If you have anything you want to say, whether you want to say it live on air or you want to say it privately, that's fine. If you want to report a sighting, just go to reportaufo.org and fill in the form. There's required fields and there's other fields that are not required. We can contact you by telephone. We can contact you by email. And we'd be happy to investigate your case. If you're, the more recent the case, the better. The more of a close encounter, the better, but it doesn't have to be a close encounter and it doesn't have to be all that recent. If it's not recent, there's some chance we won't investigate because there's just nothing we can learn. If it's a long time ago. But maybe there is something we can learn. So anyway, I'm glad you joined us tonight, and I hope that you will. We'll probably do this again in 2 weeks. Very likely we will. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and have fun with your friends and family, and just relax and enjoy yourselves. And we will see you on the other side of that. Okay? So, good night.